Hello. We are live. Excepting the 9 people who are currently on there. If you are seeing this right now, you are seeing the replay. We go live on Sunday evenings at 7 Central Time.
Not 7 sharp.
Hello.
What's the opposite of sharp? General? 7 general?
Ish, 7-ish. What is going on? Hey, Missy, Vivian, Matthew. Hey, Country Homestead Preacher. Oh, Sophia, Gabe. How are y'all? Happy Father's Day.
Yep, it's that day.
So yeah, we had our little shenanigans before trying to get a thumbnail taken because apparently I couldn't make a normal face. It's really bright right now because this little
sun in that window's clear.
Yeah.
I don't look bright.
Why is that? Is it really just my face?
Because I have tan skin. Snow White.
You want to make tea?
Yeah.
Guys, we're making tea in the bathroom right now. So ready to be done with that stage of our lives. He'll come back and see all these Father's Day wishes. Oh, thank you, Sophia. Parchment paper over the window is not a bad idea. Too late for it right now, but you just have to deal with me shining. It will chill out here in a minute. The sun's going down. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate that. I'm so glad to hear it. Hey, Single Dad Homestead. The kitchen is looking awesome, isn't it? That drawer is going to be painted. I was painting them a little while ago, actually. And I didn't get to that one because I had to start dinner. So I'll finish that in a little bit. And then we're doing all the paint and stuff. And tomorrow is Thai. It'll be really cool. Jeremiah had a series of very aggressive tumors in his leg. That's why you see him wear the compression sock. Is because it's not
from the tumors. It's from the surgeries.
Right. He's just missing a significant amount of muscle mass in that leg. Like
all the surgeries and stuff have caused just, because the tumor went in and around my nerve and around my artery and all that. And so if I don't wear it, I get like weird inflammation almost. Like it's not varicose veins because I actually went to a doctor and it wasn't varicose veins. Just I get a lot of inflammation from all the surgeries. And so I keep that compression. I actually just got this. I was wearing like a kind of like below the knee down compression sock. And honestly, all the inflammation was just pulling up in my knee, which was just causing a bunch of knee pain. And so I found one on Amazon that's like mid-thigh, and it's been helping considerably.
He did have a blood clot, but it was the kind, I don't know, he went and got it checked out, and it was the kind that's like not.
It's in your peripheral vein. It was not in an artery or any risk at all. Yeah. And it went away on its own.
Yeah. So thank you.
But no, it's not a fashion statement, I promise.
Yeah. So you can't really tell it, but he actually limps a little bit. Not too bad. You can't tell it on videos usually.
I limped less since we started working out.
Yeah. And his left leg is actually smaller than mine, probably around, or maybe about the same size as mine.
Might be about the same size.
Yeah. So, but you can't see that. So thank you for all of the lovely comments on the kitchen. It's coming along. It's going to look really different this week because we have some other things coming. All these lovely comments about Father's Day in the kitchen.
Superman.
We have just been doing, like somebody asked what workout routine we've been doing. We've just been doing beach body workouts. A friend of mine does beach body and she's like super awesome at it. And she posts all the time and she's super encouraging. And actually, I'll tell you her Instagram. And I don't know when the lockdown started or the shelter in place started. And I wasn't going to be able to like easily go buy juicing stuff. I was kind of like nervous about that because we're really I juice daily, and now I can juice again. I have a lot of stuff coming out of the garden. But anyway, I messaged her and said, hey, tell me about this. And she did. And I actually was like, okay, well, I'm going to just start doing this for now. I thought it would be like a temporary thing. I actually wasn't planning on working out. I was just going to have the shakes to have something in place of juice. That's her Instagram. And then I don't know, like she's just always posting her workouts and it looks really good. And I was like, man, I wish that I had a little bit more like stamina in the garden. Like I get really winded easily and stuff like that. I know that I'm not in great shape. I'm not in terrible shape, but I don't know. Me and Jeremiah were just talking about it one day and I was like, hey, work out with me. I'm never going to stick with this if you don't do it with me.
It's going to start off with, I'm going to do this thing. I'm like, okay, get it, girl, get it. I'm proud of you. Go after it, man. Live your life. Be the best you. And then she was getting the shakes, but I didn't see a lot of working out going on. And I was just like, well, I mean, your choice. Know your body. Be happy with who you are, all that. And then it was like, I knew it was coming because it was like, hey, you do these workouts with me? And I'm like, I'm really not interested in working out.
He's been the driving force, though. He's like,
I said, I work out
so
all the time.
Better.
And that's true. And the muscles of that I do work out on the farm are very strong. But I'll tell you, a full body workout will show you all the muscles you don't work out and they are not strong.
It is nice. It is definitely nice, and it's fun to do it together. We've had a lot of
We
fun.
haven't been able to do it together since the family room's in shambles because we don't have a space big enough. But I told her, so when we get to our new house, it's like we're having like a workout room that we can keep the kids out. Because like my kids will come in and they'll just get a big old bowl of cereal and then just watch us. I'm like sweating and like shaking, and they're like, "Oh, that looks real bad." I'm like, no, not happening.
Mary, I'm sorry, I don't know. Thank you so much for that super chat, and Dawn, thank you. Heirloom Permaculture said, I get winded thinking about intentional exercise. I haven't said hello to all of our mods that are in here. I've seen several of you guys. Hey, Lauren. Hey, North Star Prepstetter, 180 degrees from average. We love you guys. Grow your groceries. I've never had the Punakira be bitter, but for me, like, I've been having to harvest my cucumbers pretty young now because when it starts getting hot, they start getting bitter. So I just harvest them young and then they're not.
We're sticking with what's her name? Autumn. That's a 21-day fix. Someone said we should.
21-day fix. Except for like
real time or something.
Yeah, it kicked our butt so hard the first week that we did the first week again.
Well, and we did the second week and we repeated
the second
and then
week.
I did the second week twice. Now today I just started week 3.
But technically, it's the 4th week of actually working.
Yeah,
or 5th week.
4 week. This will be the 5th week.
First, twice.
This will be the 5th week.
Oh, yeah.
We're starting the 5th week.
Yeah. Now. So, Allison.
But I feel better.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm definitely skinnier. But really, I feel stronger.
Yeah. Urban Homesteader. So, are any slicer tomatoes ready for that video? Maya, not yet.
Not even close.
Well, close.
Not even close. It's got to be the right one. You know what I mean?
I do think that it should be something like one of the good ones, like Dr. Ritchie's or like one of the ones that I really like.
That's what I'm saying. It's got to be the right one. So it could be a little bit, guys.
In my apartment practice garden right now and watching your videos brings me peace and patience when I get impatient for my big garden. Allison, I'm so glad to get to share it with you.
I wonder if I could freeze dry one first and then eat it. So I could swallow it before it reconstitutes in my mouth.
No, you can't cheat. And Heirloom Permaculture said, and I was just about to send Maya some cherry limeade sherbet. No way, I'll derail you.
Oh, I still eat ice cream. I just do it on my off day. I just don't eat a lot.
Yeah, we talked about taking Father's Day off, but
I can't take Father's Day.
For taking off the live.
Oh, nah.
Yeah, we're working on the kitchen today.
Besides, I have to come on here and hang out with all of my YouTube children.
Oh, well, we were going to go to my dad's house this evening, and we had talked about canceling the live because we were going to go to my dad's house. And then he called this morning and said that he has a rental house, and his tenant called him and said the hot water heater was broken. My dad had to cancel with us to go handle that. And really, we needed to stay here and work.
Practical preppers. Yes, we're answering questions. Do you have a question other than the fact that are we answering questions?
All caps on questions. We do our best to answer them. Obviously, we don't get to all of them. This chat gets moving pretty fast. There's 920 people in here right now. So but all caps. What's the shade cloth percentage on your greenhouse?
47%.
Patricia, it's 47. I thought it was 40.
47.
Oh, wow, 47%. Pretty a lot. Things are doing well.
Unless they sent us a different one, but that's the one that I'm pretty sure Tyler said is what we got because we're in Arkansas.
Yeah. The grower solution is out of Tennessee, Middle Tennessee. And so they really understand our climate because it's very similar to theirs. And so they kind of really helped us navigate what we needed to do to set up. And they told us that. Someone asked about where my headbands were from. I'm sorry, I missed the name. The headbands that I've been wearing are from The Natural Life. They're called boho bandos. And I actually found some very similar. It's the same style at Walmart. And I bought one package just to try them. And they are very similar and they're cute, but they're a lot thinner, which may be a benefit as far as temperature wise, but I don't find the other ones to be too hot. The other thing with the cheaper ones, they really felt stretchy. They didn't really hold my hair back super well. They just my hair kept slipping out. So that is an option if you wanted a cheaper one, but I think they're $12 or something like that. They're the full ones. They have half ones and full ones.
Man, North Star Prep Stutter, he must have these on some.
Yeah, no.
What are you shushing me for?
No, I'm not saying. You said he. I was saying she.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Ron, is it vernacular? Or whatever that word is. Use the wrong one. Sorry. She's on it because seriously, someone's like, where do we get the shirts from? Bam, links. I'm literally.
I know she's
crazy.
The best as far as posting links.
That was fast.
That's awesome, Joe Mama's Garden. Shirt sleeves. Jeremiah has used shirt sleeves for a long time. He'll cut off the sleeves of shirts and put them over his head.
Well, when it gets really hot, I'll take a whole shirt and put it around my head and fold it back and soak it
in water. He actually ended up taking one of those.
They're
called boho bandos, but
I have a black one for my bee suit.
The Natural Life.
Ooh, that frizzle is in the cottage garden.
Oh. I don't think it's going to hurt anything. It's a little bitty.
If those little bitty gangster chickens start messing with stuff.
Those tiny chickens that we have, those frizzles and those millefleurs.
They're just going everywhere.
They will not stay in the yard. They go back to the coop at night, but
I barely saved one's life today because it went inside the backyard with Con. And he pounced it and it lived. So they're durable.
Miraculous, obviously, yeah.
But I guarantee you, she went back to the coop and told the story. She was like, "You will not believe what I just saw. I almost died." It was a black dragon.
Dealing with gnats and spider mites. What is your advice? I actually don't have advice for gnats and spider mites, but maybe somebody on here can throw some advice up. Does anybody else have any experience with that? Hey, Geared for Life. Hey, Stivers.
180. I'm assuming that's Sarah. Ethan wouldn't compliment my kitchen.
Ethan would compliment the kitchen, but it may be Sarah.
It's probably
Sarah. I don't know. We'll have to see who it is, but thank you.
It'll be both of them. Watch it, both.
Dragon Con, no kidding. Any herbal tea suggestions for bladder spasms? Lauren, can you help out with that?
Is Lauren here?
Yeah, she's on here. She's made me different things for urinary tract stuff before. Maybe she can answer that. What do you use to edit your videos? iMovie.
It's Ethan. Of course it is.
The free program on the Mac. That's what I use. Thank you so much, Single Dad. Fried green tomato sandwiches. Actually, I think I'm going to do a video about fried green tomatoes as soon as I have a kitchen that I can do it in. But there's a common misconception that you have to grow a green variety of tomatoes to make fried green tomatoes. That's not
all
true.
Tomatoes are green before they're ripe.
Yeah, that's unripe. Fried green tomatoes are fried unripe tomatoes. So you can pull any big tomato once it's full size and fry it before it turns green or before it turns its color. So I was thinking of doing that. I love fried green tomatoes, though. They are delish. We do have a wish list on Amazon, Lisa Ferguson, and actually right before this video, we had delivery from Amazon, and there were a few wish list gifts in it, and so we actually that's why we were a few minutes late, because I was like, Jeremiah's like, we'll just wait till after. I'm like, no, just let me look at them now. I love presents. So people send us some things for our kitchen, actually.
Yeah. I put a couple other things on there that would be nice to have for a future project in the kitchen.
Yeah, the boho bandos. Thank you guys for sharing that. I like cornmeal for fried green tomatoes. Usually what I actually do is a mix with flour and cornmeal, and it's about equal parts flour and cornmeal, but I don't like to do just flour. If I have to do all of one, I'll do all of cornmeal. I prefer that to all of flour, but that's what I do for fried okra as well. I put a little bit of flour in the cornmeal for fried okra, but it's more cornmeal. They're all gone, baby.
They're all gone, honey. We'll have food in a little bit. Go on, we're on live.
Okay. Overwintering strawberries in the green stalk in Michigan. Okay. So I don't think that it's going to be an issue for me to overwinter the strawberries. So strawberries are pretty hardy, but obviously the green stalk's putting them up out of the ground. However, I know that green stalk does sell like a frost cover, that you can just put over the whole thing. And that might help some. That might be something to look into. I'm not really 100% sure what the best way to do that. Hey, Letitia, thank you so much for that, girl.
Are they fried green because they're sturdier before they're ripe? Or is it because of a particular flavor? I don't know.
I mean, it probably has something to do with the flavor, I would say. I know that's what.
It does make sense, though. I think what a lot of it was invented because you get a bunch of green tomatoes.
Or like one falls off.
And you try to find something to use it for.
Right. Like one falls off the vine. Like you end up with green tomatoes. Like, one will fall off unripe and stuff like that. You can just ripen them in the windowsill or fry them green and use them. Or you can pickle them green. That's another thing that you can do is make like pickled green tomatoes. Like there's a local place here that's near us called Smokin' Buns. And it's just a barbecue place. And they give you this green tomato relish. It's really good with whenever you order from there. Mm-hmm. Bruce is becoming so handsome, isn't he, Heather? He is a pain in the stinking butt.
He's like needy.
He's so needy. And
the kids have been gone, and he has just been obnoxious.
It's so funny because he's used to so much attention when all our kids are here. But Jackson and Asher went to their dad's this weekend, and Asher is the one who like cuddles Bruce all the time. And then the little kids went to my mom so that we would have the ability to work without having to take care of them. And Bruce was on us the whole time. Like he was like needed attention. It was so funny.
I was in the middle of working. It was getting late, like 10. And I just sat down in the chair just to rest for a second and like sat back like this and closed my eyes. And all of a sudden it's just bam. And he's in my chest and he like curls up. Like he's going to go to sleep. And I'm like, whatever. We took like a little nap.
Yeah, he was being a Velcro kitty for sure. Allison, I'll probably do some videos showing canning and maybe explaining some things. There are certain things in just topics that if you try to teach very much, there are so many opinions that it's really hard to step out and teach on them. And canning is one of those things. And I've done some canning videos. I will do some more canning videos. I will do some linking recipes and show what I'm doing. But I'm kind of measuring out that. There are some topics like beekeeping, horses. Like there are just some topics that the opinions that people have on those are strong. Real strong.
Where's the sprinkler?
The sprinkler?
Yeah.
It's in the garage. It's getting a little late for that.
We'll do it in the morning, okay?
Let's do it in the morning. It's supposed to be.
Deborah Flecker, thank you so much for that.
Tomorrow.
Oh, Coral, hello.
Tomorrow. Come on, baby.
Yeah, I got a lot of slack for canning videos, definitely. I mean, it's just one of those things, like, I really enjoy making some videos, and there are some things that I like to share. And even in the videos that I did make about canning, and I talked about like using common sense, and I talked about like botulism, for instance, is something that is something that makes people nervous. But I just kind of reassured people to just use common sense and all that stuff. And I got so many messages of people being like, you're going to kill somebody. You're going to, like, it's a lot online between like really offering the, offering support and offering encouraging without getting a ton of hate mail. That'd be great. Thank you so much, April. Second Life Farms. I need pressure canner support. That's another thing. Like, a lot of things I feel like I'm just learning, but I'm about to be doing a lot of canning. Living Traditions is a really good resource for canning videos. They do a lot of pressure canning. Patricia, tomato leaves curling is a sign of stress. It's not necessarily an awful thing. It can be because of overwatering, underwatering, pest pressure, really hot days. Like all of my outside tomatoes have a little bit curly on their leaf. What type of strawberries are you growing? Where did you get your seeds? I'm growing them from bare roots. So Ozark Beauties are the ones in the green stalk. We got those from Stark Brothers as bare roots. And then I don't know the variety that's in the kiddie pool. A viewer actually sent us those as runners and we planted them, but I'm not sure what they are. What is the temp in the high tunnel, Miss Wanda? It is typically just a slightly cooler in there than it is outside. So our days have been running like 90 to 95, 90 on average. It's gotten up to 95 Celsius. That's 32 to 35. So it's in the bottom of that door, love. So it's like 32 to 35 Celsius. And inside the greenhouse, it's running just slightly cooler than that because the shade cloth really does help cool it off a little bit. My bean seeds mold before they are dry enough to save them. What am I doing wrong? I actually don't know the answer to that question. That happens when it's really wet. That can happen when it's really wet. Now, there's some drama going on back there. Maya's on it. Sometimes you just got to parent, even if you're on live chat in front of 1,000 people. You know how it is. But Kit said high nitrogen can curl tomato leaves, so that's something that could be it. So I've also noticed that with I've been talking lately and listening, learning about the fact that aphids can be a sign of too much nitrogen. Yes, Benjamin is very passionate about something. He really thought that he was going to get to play in the sprinkler today, but it rained this afternoon and it was thundering, so he couldn't go play in the rain. And so he feels like now is a good time to play in the sprinkler, and we've told him no. So that's rough when you're 5. Let's see. Julie, thank you for the super chat. Did you decide what to plant in your empty spots in the front garden? I'm working on that. You guys have given me some really good ideas. I think I'm going to definitely put some amaranth in. I had multiple viewers from the UK message me and say that they usually plant their Brussels sprouts by now, grow them through the summer, and then into, like, you want them to be frost kissed, and they're like a really traditional like Christmas dinner thing there. I'm thinking I may go ahead and start some Brussels sprout seeds indoors and try to move them out. I'm a little worried about our heat, but I mean, I won't know if I don't try. So I'm going to try that. Yeah, I actually told Ben earlier that he could take a bath. He's like, I just need to be in water. And I was like, well, do you want to get in the bathtub? Like, the 400-degree day that he was expecting from when he went to my mom told him that the heat index was going to be 104 in some areas. I talked to her and found out what the deal was. He was so adamant about it being 400 degrees. He does still do the dino bites in the garden thing. Crystal will have to ask the hive mind on this one because I've not grown rhubarb. My rhubarb leaves are curling and they are newly planted. What might be the reason? There's Crystal D, if anybody can answer that question. Compost procedures. Nicole, I have not done a video on that. We have been pretty lax in our composting, and that's to say the least. Literally, our composting procedures have been pile everything up in a big massive pile, and after a handful of months, roll it over with the tractor and then leave it for some more months. And usually by the next year is when we use it. Like, that's actually on my list over, probably not this season. We have so much going on right now, but maybe over the winter and into next season, I would really like to get like a cool compost setup.
No, he's not in trouble. He's just having an emotional moment.
Yeah.
He's fine.
Yeah. With our kids, when they're having like a really emotional moment, like we're not, like they don't get in trouble for that. However, they can't do that in a way that's going to be a hindrance to what else is going on. So usually we tell them if they need to scream beyond, like once they've got their answer, if they need to fall apart over it, that they can fall apart over it on their bed, and that we'll be glad to talk to them whenever they're ready to talk. So
he didn't require bedtime. He's actually just laying in with his brothers watching the show now.
He's still complaining.
Well, Ezra's upset because he had to give up the TV, which he's used half the day.
What do you use to tie your tomatoes? This plastic tie tape from Amazon. Someone said rhubarb doesn't like the heat. It is hard being 5, Robin. Sometimes it's really hard to remember whenever kids are coming.
Plus, there's a lot of things changing right now. They don't have a kitchen or a family room.
Their routines are completely thrown off. I bet he'd like to talk to you, Chris.
What?
Miah hasn't eaten tomato yet. We have only had a few ripe cherry tomatoes. So, what can be made with ground cherries, and do you dehydrate them? We've never had enough to dehydrate. Heirloom permaculture is on here. I want to say they've made quite a few things with ground cherries. We've always just eaten them fresh, and everybody likes them so much that they all get eaten fresh. So, but I think you can make like jam. It would be really good for jam. I would love to grow rhubarb. It's on my list to get started. What mildew attacks pepper plants at ground level and kills overnight? I have no idea. Does anybody have any clue on that?
Ground cherries are tomatillos, not actually cherries.
Yeah, they're like a cherry tomatillo. Kind of
but
like
they taste like a cherry, like a pineapple cherry. That frizzle?
I don't see it.
It's behind that beehive. If they decide to attack it, they will put it out of its getting into the garden misery. Hopefully it doesn't mess with them too much.
The other day, our chickens got out, and I went out there, and we had this other beehive here, and one of the hens was like standing there at the door entrance of the beehive,
picking bees
off. And I was like, "You little hen, you were going to get yourself killed by these bees."
They seriously could. They really could.
They did, and I chased her off. But golly, Lila had my first harvest of turnips today. That is so awesome. Thank you so much for that. And I appreciate that and receive it. And then, Jenna Stewart, thank you so much. Happy Father's Day.
Thanks, Jenna.
Yeah, I bet they would make a really great tasting jam. Hey, Murray McMurray Hatchery.
Oh, they have hives right by the
chicken yard. Never have an issue. Ours are pretty close. We've never had an issue with it. But that hen, I was just like.
Actually, what ended up happening is that hive swarmed the next day.
Oh, wow.
And then I recaught it and put it into a different box in a different spot. And it's been fine since. But
when do we expect to have our kitchen done? It's pretty close right now,
I'd
actually.
say mostly functional by end of day tomorrow, finished by end of the week.
Even the floor? You think you'll be able to get the floor done?
Oh, yeah. Floor's going to go fast.
So, the kitchen, okay, so you can kind of see, leave it out of the way. Like, we've got, these are all the cabinets painted. I was actually painting the drawers right before going live. And I've got to finish painting the drawers and the cabinet fronts. And then tomorrow, our friend Dan, his YouTube channel is Pure Hearts Homestead. You've seen him around here if you've been around with us for very long. He's actually coming and laying the tile of our backsplash. And then we have a plumber coming to like get the sink and the faucet and everything. I guess you're going to hook the faucet up. He's just getting everything settled with the sink. And then we have my cousin's husband does like HVAC and does gas lines and stuff like that. And he actually ran the gas for our stove. So he's coming to hook that up and make sure it's all hooked up right. And so that's going to be that's all tomorrow. And so, yeah, that's going to be pretty cool. Jeremiah's painting tonight after this video. Let's see here. I missed some things. Greetings from Joint Base, Lewis McCord. Love your channel. Thank you so much for that. For some reason, watching you folks calms my kitten with seizures, so you owe you so much more than this. Wow, that is so awesome. I'm so glad. God bless that little kitty and just bring it peace. Victoria, first time on the live, but I love watching the channel. Just bought 10 acres a year ago, and you inspired me to do garden beds. They're thriving. Happy Father's Day, Maya. Thank you, and congratulations on your 10 acres. That's awesome.
Someone's asking if we've done the ceiling yet. Yes, it's all shiplap.
It's not painted.
No, but it'll be painted.
It's gonna be white. Ooh. It's a white that's it's called glass of milk. There's a fly that's buzzing around the camera.
Let me get my gun.
I mean, if you must.
If he doesn't stop flying around.
It's not a real gun. It's a salt gun.
It's a real gun.
Somebody's like, that's excessive. We did get new cabinets. There's a local guy here that Jeremiah's brother is a contractor, and it's the guy he uses to build the custom cabinets. And we actually hired it out. We were talking about building them, but we were really trying to get this done as fast as possible. Hello, Landon. Thank you for watching our channel. Jeremiah's got to get his salt gun and shoot the fly. When do you harvest your honey? Well, we've never harvested our honey before. But I think, when do we harvest our honey? It's like summer, right?
Yeah, it's in summer. Like honey flow is going on now. Of course, ours have with all the stuff going on. We've got maybe 5 or 6 honey supers that should be getting full. And we, depending on temperatures and stuff, we should be getting honey through July. So our hope is in the next couple of weeks, if they fill those supers up, we'll pull the supers, harvest them, put the supers back in. They'll fill them back up again, and then we'll harvest them one more time before leaving enough honey and everything for them over the winter.
Michaela Partridge, your channel has inspired me to start eating whole foods, and in the process of changing how I eat, I've lost 13 pounds. Wow, congratulations, girl. That's awesome. That's so good. Keep it up.
Strawberries we got from
Stark Bros.
Stark Brothers.
Oh, I saw another question. They're going so fast. That fly never knew what was coming. You're right, North Star Prep Stutter. Somebody asked Murray McMurray Hatchery if you guys still have chicks. I can answer that. How, Mark? They sent out an email where this week actually got the email because I'm on the mailing list, and it said you can go see available chicks. They do have chicks, but there's a link or there's a tab you can go see what's available. Thank you so much, Mark. We love you.
We don't have a goat medication routine. We kind of just address things preventatively as needed.
Well, we do copper pretty on a schedule. We do copper about every 4 or 5 months.
Copper's a regular thing. Yeah.
Which we used to do copper bolus every 6 months. We dealt with a lot of pesticides.
We do it every 3 months.
And now they say, well, I think, is it 3 or is it 4?
3.
Someone actually gave us that tip and said if you give them copper, then they won't struggle with pesticides as bad because the copper helps take care of that in their track. And we're in a very copper deficient area. And so we would start noticing their hair turning red. If you have black goats and their hair starts turning red or their tails split like this, and that's called fishtailing, that's like a telltale sign that they need copper. And when we started that, we have not dealt with pesticides. parasites. Gosh, I'm saying the wrong word. Parasites. Nearly as bad as we did. We used to really struggle with parasites because it can get so wet here. So that's on schedule. We do CDT yearly. Typically, we try to time that if the goats are pregnant, that they get that a couple weeks before they kid. And then we only deworm when we notice that it's necessary. And some of our goats don't ever get dewormed because they never need it. Then we have a couple more that struggle with it a little bit more. So our mugs. Okay, so I love handmade pottery, and I actually have pottery from multiple different artists now. I know I have I collect seeds. That's true. I collect cookbooks, but like my collection, as far as like things that don't have a purpose beyond, I mean, obviously have a purpose, but we could be fine with a few mugs though. I have a lot more than that. Is handmade pottery. I love handmade pottery so much. And the reason why is I have a dear friend. Her name is Haley Rose. She lives in California. We met on Instagram probably about 5 years ago or something like that. And many of my mugs, the majority of my mugs come from Haley because she was kind of the one who got me into that. So it's Haley Rose Ceramics. There's her website, North Star Prep Studders on it. So Miah does not have a building channel. He does have some videos on our channel, like showing how to build things and giving like general tips.
Any advice for termites and garden beds? Unfortunately, use treated wood or pest resistant cedar, cypress. That's the only thing you can do. Yeah. If you use pine, that's just part of it. Or oak, even any kind of hardwood, they'll just get in there and destroy it.
Lemon Jeep Girl, at this point, our channel is our job. Our YouTube presence is our job, putting up content. That really enables us to do it to the level that we do because, I mean, we post daily content. And that, I would say, like, time-wise, when all things are factored in, I probably spend 40 hours a week doing YouTube, making daily content and stuff. But yes, this is our job at this point. You know, Kristen, any tips? Let me read this aloud so we can have this as a conversation. Any tips on curing onions outside when you deal with a lot of wildlife like raccoons? We actually have some raccoons, but we have dogs and we have critters all around, so we don't deal with it in just like a horrible way. There have been times that we've had a lot of wildlife and a lot of issues, and we've used live traps for that. You can just buy those at like Tractor Supply. And I would say that if you put traps around your onions or whatever you're going to lay out, that would probably be a good way to do it. We put cans of tuna in it. Because there was a time that they were really coming after our chickens. But that would be my only real advice. Chris Hansen, professionally trained photographer or self-taught. I actually went through some courses at the University of Tennessee when I lived there. I went through a few semesters of like just classes that they offered for photography and trained under a photographer that was just, kind of just mentored me in that. And then really self-taught from that point out. There used to be a forum, I don't even know if it's still a thing, I haven't been a part of it in a long time, called Clickin' Moms. And it was a huge part of my journey in photography. Being a part of this like group that did a lot of challenges and critique and all of that helped me grow massively. There were a few years that I spent a lot of effort in growing in photography, and I've honestly gotten kind of rusty in it now. I mean, I can still pick up a camera and take some good photos, but I don't do it nearly as much as I used to. Hey, the city's dead.
We are not putting upper cabinets back in.
No, it's shelves.
It's going to be open shelves, so there will be space.
Yeah.
Between them.
Yeah, so it'll be like shelf.
Chat is flying.
Yeah, the chat is flying.
That's a good question. You going to plant anything in the potato bed now that it's empty?
I stuck some potatoes back in there.
Yeah.
I had some that were already starting to sprout a little bit, so I just put those suckers back in. We'll see what happens. It's called what is it called? A bug assault.
Bug assault. No, they have version 2. This is version 1. This is classic. I've killed probably 1,000 flies.
This is probably the gift that I've given Jeremiah that he's enjoyed the most. I bought this at Sam's Club once. They had them on clearance. I walked in, they were $15.
Now,
and I
if
thought,
I could get a hold of bug assault, like
funny.
we would do some kind of collaboration where like we can. I want to be able to make one like this. You could equip like an AR-15 with like a pistol grip and like a red dot sight. It's not loaded. It's a salt gun.
I don't want to get shot with salt either.
And it's empty. I need more salt. The flies are running rampant in these parts. Anyways, they do actually have a red dot sight that slides over
they make a little
and stuff. But I don't know. I really want to step this up. It's more
North Star Pet Center Bug Assault website.
How is that even possible?
She's a beast.
Well, it doesn't matter how much salt there is, Kaylee, around the house. It is what it is.
No, the worst is when I'm trying to cook dinner and all of a sudden Jeremiah decides to go on a fly safari and he's in here. I'm like out of my space. I was like, I do not eat flies in my food.
No, the flies are in your food anyways. They're just landing and taking off. What I'm doing is make sure they only land and then die.
No. You can, Andrea said you can plant beans. I don't know if that was in response to somebody. You can plant beans or peas to correct nitrogen or add a nitrogen-rich fertilizer like fish emulsion.
Why don't we have a donkey on our farm? It's a good question.
Well,
people tried to give us donkeys when we first started, and it was like we had no place to put a donkey, and now we actually have a place for donkey, and no one wants to give us donkeys, so...
the thing with donkeys is that they can be really ill-tempered, and I just haven't wanted to take the risk with that. They can be super sweet and super awesome, but I just don't really.
James Hilliard, would you get charged with murder or assault?
Oh no, he's not salted the food with that thing.
I can.
Lindella said,
"Oh, you want an salted caramel latte? Hold on."
Oh my gosh, yeah. I think they're still kind of expensive now. I got that one for $15 at Sam's Club, but I think they're like
here's what happened.
$50.
They launched them and people didn't really get the word out.
Well, she was saying she remembers when they first came out, the salt gun was around $100 15 years ago.
Right. Okay. So people weren't really buying them much, and so they closed them out at Sam's. And so Jessica got it for $15. And then they got real popular, and so they got them back in, and now they're like $40.
Yeah. Mark said, my daddy's donkey is mean. I've come across some mean donkeys. The thing that I was nervous about is that a lot of people said if you have a mean donkey that they can kill dogs.
That would be
or hurt kids. And so I just was like, I don't like having any yards where my kids can't safely go. Like, that's not to say, like, they cannot go in with Gerard. Like, they absolutely can't. They don't go in with the pigs at all, actually. My kids, they can't. All the male animals we have right now are really chill, really friendly, and I'm okay with my kids going in there. However, when the girls start going in heat and those bucks go into rut, my kids will not be allowed to go in there at that point. And so I just didn't want to add a space that I didn't feel like my kids would be safe to go. Yeah. The person next door to us used that field where we leased briefly for our horses. The person who had it before had cows out there and they had donkeys, and you would hear the coyotes giggling at night. Like, you'd hear this hee, and then you'd hear hee-haw, and you'd hear the as the coyotes ran away. Like, those donkeys.
How does that donkey sound again?
Just like that.
No. How did it go? Mm-mm. I think everyone on YouTube would really like a second time. One more time for everybody.
No.
Come on. I'm not going to leave from this.
Lewis Burns.
No, Lewis Burns. One more
Lewis
donkey
Burns
sound.
is talking about spud nuts.
One more time. Come on. It was so cute.
Yeah.
That was the worst donkey. Your first one.
That was a pressured donkey. That's what that was. Donkey under pressure.
That's okay. I'm going to replay this and I'm going to make a soundbite out of it. I'm going to send it to someone on Instagram. No, I'm going to send it to someone on the internet to make an auto-tune remix of hee-haw-haw, hee-haw-haw.
Can you do a video on how to make soap from your chamomile? Mary, I've actually never done that before. I can do a video about infusing chamomile into oil, and then you could take the oil and make soap out of it in just like any normal way of making soap. That's how I don't make soap. I would like to, but I haven't personally. But I have infused chamomile and oil, calendula in oil, and then use those to make salves, or just use it directly on your skin. Guys, talking about coyotes, I was driving home like a month or two ago, and I drove this big field out here, past this big farm out here on the way home, and they had a bunch of coyotes strung up on their fence to try to keep the coyotes away from their cattle, I guess. And I was
think it works, but it's a little intense.
This feels like the Wild West out here. Your favorite herb to grow? That's a really hard question. They have such versatile uses. So I had to kind of talk about a few. I have thyme that has been out there for years. I don't even do anything to it, so that's nice. I love basil.
Since he got here.
Come here. You want to talk to our friends? You need to take a second and talk to our friends.
But no, listen to me. Look at me. Look at me. What are we doing right now? Okay, so do you think this is the time to bring that up?
But also,
so it is the time, is what you think? Or could you wait until after we're done doing live?
I'm tired of telling on Mama.
I know you're tired of telling Mama, but I'm
because
saying
she's been watching TV forever.
I know.
That's
all she does. That's all she does.
Hey, Chris said hi.
Right.
Where's the sword gonna be done?
But hey, when's the sword gonna be done, Chris? I told you he'll never.
I remember he said, "When's that sword gonna be
Yeah, how far have you progressed? We would like update pictures now. You can send it to my phone.
I can't believe you.
Send it to my phone. He wants to see how much you've gotten done.
He forgets
look
nothing. Hey, these people are saying, Ben, we want to see your face. Ben is the best. We want to smile from Ben. There we go. Okay, let's ask Ben some questions. Ben, what's your favorite tomato? What color is your favorite?
Tomato.
Here, I can't see it.
No, I'm kidding.
What color tomato is your favorite?
Tomato.
What color tomato?
What color?
Tomato's my favorite.
All of them?
Yeah.
Which color did you eat today?
Gold.
Gold. Did you like that one?
Gold.
Do you like gold or red? Hey,
Wait.
do you like gold or red?
Both.
Both. Do you like those weird kind of purpley looking ones? They're kind of big. Both. You like all of them? Do you like big tomatoes or small tomatoes or both?
Big.
Big. So
Okay.
you like tomato sandwiches?
You keep talking like that, you're going out of here.
Okay.
Okay,
Talk like a
look.
big
Someone
boy.
said, "How are your cucumbers?" Here, let's talk. People
How are
want
the
to hear.
cucumbers
People want to
doing?
hear from you. You're so smart. How are your cucumbers doing?
They need gardening advice.
They're still growing, and I checking the ones laying in the pavilion table.
Okay, they're still growing. He keeps checking on them, and one's laying in the pavilion table. That's what he said. Did you pick your cucumbers today?
No, not today.
Not today. Someone said, "I love you, Ben. I picked my first cucumber today, and I thought of you." Say thanks.
How big do you want your sword, Ben? No.
Okay, speak seriously. Remember, if it was that big, you wouldn't be able to hold it. And remember, you were upset about that other sword you had being too big.
Yes, you want like a one-handed sword.
Two-handed sword.
Oh, it has long.
No.
How many cucumbers have you picked?
I don't know. It's a lot of cucumbers.
It's a lot of cucumbers.
Oh, I ate
Ben,
them.
where's Bear? Someone said. Where's Bear?
Quit talking like that.
I don't know where Bear is.
You
He's
don't
out
know where
back.
Bear is? He's out back.
I'll go show
Okay,
him.
what's your favorite thing to grow in the garden?
Everything.
Everything. What's your favorite thing to pick?
Everything.
Everything. Well, who's your favorite goat? Mama.
Clover?
Clover is not his favorite goat.
Yeah. He loves being headbutted by Clover.
No, he doesn't have that.
What's your favorite goat?
Big Mama and Ninja.
Big Mama and Ninja. They've named Nestle Big Mama because she comes in and loves on them. How big are your cucamelons? Can you show?
Dee.
Have you been eating those?
Yeah.
That's good. What's your favorite cartoon? Wild Kratts?
Well,
Wild Kratts. That's what I thought. No, he likes
Where's the swords?
where's the swords? Okay, this is a good question. What is your favorite part of summer?
Swimming.
Swimming.
What?
Sliding.
What? Sliding?
On water slide.
Oh, the water slide. He went to the splash pad and had fun on the water slide.
I cut my nose.
How many tomatoes have you eaten? 3.
I got 2.
Someone said you are so precious, Ben.
Who was it?
He's being shy. Miss Wanda said you did so great picking onions.
Oh yeah.
What's your favorite book? That's a good question. What's your favorite story? You can choose audiobooks too.
What about-
Everything.
Which book did you listen to at night that you liked? Dragon Planet?
Wagon Planet.
Dragon Planet. Yes, he will be doing kindergarten work in the fall. He's already been doing a little bit of kindergarten work. All right.
So
let's
see you
do
later.
one more. What's your favorite YouTube channel? Who do you like to watch on YouTube?
Me.
You.
Who do you really like to watch?
Me.
You.
Charles?
Is it Charles?
No.
Me. You like to watch me on YouTube. Do you watch my videos on YouTube?
I don't think so.
You do? I don't know when you do. I know you like to watch Charles Downing, don't you?
Yeah, I like that.
What's your favorite thing about Charles Downing?
Farm.
His farm. What about him? What did you tell me one thing you learned from him?
Gardening.
Gardening. What about the garden? Don't be nervous.
It's pretty.
His garden's pretty. Ben he learned about multi-sewing on Charles Downing, and he told me about that, where he sews a lot of things together. And he's learned.
That's where I learned that cat toy.
The cat toy?
Yeah, I made a cat toy for Breeze.
Oh, I don't know if you learned that on Charles Downing.
All right.
All right.
Go hang out with your brothers for a little bit. You need your shoes on.
Yeah, put your shoes on so you don't step on anything bad for your feet. All
right.
Okay, go on.
Scroll down here.
Go.
Where's the stars? I want to see the pictures.
No.
He'll send some pictures when he's got something to
Put
show.
pictures on the live. He'll send them whenever he's got some.
Okay.
Okay. He's being shy.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you were.
No, I'm not.
Go on.
So yeah, he is really sweet. I don't want to embarrass him. So he gets on kicks with like YouTube channels, specifically like homesteading and gardening channels. And he hasn't been watching just a whole lot of it lately. He still watches Charles Downing a little bit. But his first YouTube obsession was Lumna Acres, Al Lumna. And he would wake up every morning. This is when he was like two now. He was like 3. It was before we started our channel or started doing. And he would come in the morning. He's, I want to watch a Lumna Acre when he was like 3 years old. And I would set him at the computer and I would turn on Lumna Acres and he would watch Lumna Acres every single day. And if Al didn't have a new video, we had to go find an old one and he would watch that. He would watch one show every single day. Well, then he got really hooked on Justin Rhodes and he watched Justin Rhodes. He kind of like started watching Justin and he would watch Al and Justin. And we went to Homesteaders of America the first year. And this is after we had our YouTube channel. But we were sitting in the big hall and there was the Q&A with all the speakers and Justin Rhodes was on the Q&A. And the camera panned to Justin and he was on the screen and we were sitting in the like far back because I had all my kids with me. So I was kind of trying to stay back because I didn't know if they were going to be able to sit through it. And all of a sudden, Ben totally fangirls, like completely, I'm talking like almost falls out of his seat. He stands up. He's 3 at the time. He stands up on the chair. He starts tapping everybody around us. He's like, it's Justin Rhodes. It's Justin Rhodes. It's Justin Rhodes. And then he's like, Mom, Justin Rhodes got out of the computer. And he was so excited. So excited. And so now he watches Charles Dowding. And he's watched Charles Dowding for probably the longest of all. And I think it's because we have the garden so we can watch it and then go out there. We've watched all of Charles Dowding's videos. And yeah, he still likes Justin Rhodes. We've been to the Rhodes house and Ben thought that was really cool. And like Justin was super sweet to him whenever he got to talk to him the first time. And so it's just really funny. But I would love at some point to take my kids over and just make a trip over to the UK and just like go visit multiple places. And I would really love to be able to see Charles Dowding's place and take Benjamin there someday. So he would think that was the coolest thing. Tanya Wiley, we actually use a mix of curriculum. The Good and the Beautiful would probably be the bulk of what we've used over the last few years. Thank you so much, Opinion Guy. I appreciate that. I would like to have Ben do a garden tour. I think I would probably have him do a garden tour of like the whole garden. The reason I haven't done that yet is I'm sure that video would take a long time to like weed through everything that he said. So I just think that would be really fun to get his opinion. Love learning new things through your uploads. Thank you, Dima Fly. Charles Dowding is really awesome. He knows his stuff. I would like to kind of emulate his compost setup because he has a really cool setup for compost and is doing a really cool thing. Oh, wow. Ladybugs love flea beetles. I didn't know that. No, flowering will not mess up your Tulsi, Sarah. That it's going to flower. It flowers really from really young, and you can actually just dry the flowers up with the leaves to make your tea. Does the weed barrier prevent squash plants vines from putting down roots? Yeah, it does do that. So what we have done is we have like the weed barrier and then we have like this straw apron next to it as well as the sweet potato vines. So they kind of vine off of that and they're able to kind of like put some down. But yeah, it will definitely stop them from that. Any tips on moving from city to country life? Can't wait, but also have some trepidation, worried about feeling lonely, but can't wait to be more in tune with nature. How do you deal with a transition? It really was a transition. We moved here in April of 2014. We lived in town. Jeremiah grew up out in the country. I lived in town my entire life. I had lived in a neighborhood or an apartment my whole life. So I had never lived like this. And it really was a transition. It took me a little while to adjust to the fact that like if you're out of an ingredient for dinner, you don't just run to the store. It takes 30 minutes to get anywhere. It just was that was the main change. Loneliness at this point, like you just end up adjusting. At this point, I would not want to live in a neighborhood.
I would have a hard time living in
I would have a really hard time just because the quiet out here is so nice. You really do adjust, but it does take some adjustment. You kind of just got to be prepared to sort of slow down and enjoy the quiet. I just got a Canon 6D Mark II, which was like, people have been asking me, like, what are you vlogging on? I would not suggest that as a vlogging camera to somebody that didn't want to be like, that wasn't really into imagery and photography and stuff. I really got it to kind of double as a photo camera, but also because I wanted to start getting creative with cinematography. But it's not like it's not great for just quick vlogs. It's big and it's heavy. But I love it. I'm loving the camera. But like if you're wanting to just get started, I would say get an M50. That's a really good camera to get started with. Yeah, Allie, it's definitely an introvert's dream.
What do we do with our spent hens?
We've never really had a huge issue with that just because
I don't know that we've ever.
Well, we've had a lot of hens, we've had so many predators that like they never lasted
Make
a
it
super long time.
long enough to get that old.
Because they would just like go out in the woods and stuff, and like we just dealt with a lot of predators. We sold, like we culled a whole flock at one point and basically sold them all to someone who was going to use them for meat. I didn't have the heart to do that, but they were carrying, they had basically a respiratory infection that they were cured of it, but they were carriers for it. So we could not in good conscience sell any birds from them, like chicks or anything.
We couldn't sell them for layers.
Passing that to someone else's flock.
The only thing that they were one, they were living miserable lives.
Well, they just kept getting sick.
Right.
So they were okay for eating because their meat wasn't contaminated, but they were just carriers of that. But we sold all of those to a person that understood the situation and wanted, like, we sold them really cheap and they wanted them for meat. And then, I don't know, we're about to have some old layers, but I mean, they're still laying. And so a lot of times what I do is once they're kind of on the decline and they're just not laying very much, I'll just give them to somebody who wants to get into chickens, but that understands that they're on the decline. So Miss Wanda, I've not been juicing without having my kitchen because the juicer is kind of hard to clean. I'm so ready to be juicing again. I haven't been the last couple of weeks. I really miss it.
Should you remove the first flowers on your Kajari melon then?
I never have.
I don't think we would do that.
Because I only really do that on plants that are transplanted because I want them to really get a good root system going. But if I've direct sowed them, then I don't. And I usually direct sow those. Do you guys have citrus trees? No, they're we're in zone 7. We're like 7A, 7B. We're kind of like right in the line. But we don't have citrus trees here. They just wouldn't last through our winters, I don't think. What's the ETA on the kitchen? It's going to be much further advanced this week. Jeremiah's thinking that another week and it'll be good to go. It'll be functional after tomorrow night. Like I'll be able to make coffee in the kitchen instead of the bathroom day after tomorrow, hopefully. Praise the Lord. Been making bathroom coffee. There's been a lot of jokes in my house about the bathroom coffee. Actually,
bathroom coffee tastes good.
My kids, I think that it's hilarious that I'm so desperate for coffee that I would make it in the bathroom.
Of course, my coffee isn't in the bathroom.
Yeah. We have an espresso machine that's out here. I just make pour over. So
we get our super soil from a place called American Composting in Little Rock.
Hello, Matthew. Thank you for saying hi and thank you for watching. Showing the rebuild. Yeah, we've been showing a little bit of it. We haven't done just a whole lot of video on it just because
I would much rather just get it in.
It's been a process of getting it done. We've also been working our 14-year-old, letting him help. And one of our neighbors' kids has been coming and helping, and we've just been, letting them earn a little bit of extra summer money. But that's required a lot of supervising. They've done a really good job, but it's a lot of supervising.
It's been a lot of supervising. A lot.
Yeah, I love coffee. I really do.
How does she do that so fast?
I don't know. She's the bomb diggity. North Star Prep Stutter, you get it. For those of you that are on here, we got 1.6 thousand people. The moderators that are over here, they've got the blue wrench next to their name. You see them commenting and interacting. They make this possible. I'll tell you right now that I would not be able to get on this live video in front of 1,500 people without people protecting us from the trolls that come in and the really ugly comments, because that's just kind of part of YouTube, unfortunately, but it can be really distracting when you're trying to talk. This is hard. We're used to it at this point, but it's so funny when our friends that start YouTube channels or have never done lives before do their first live and they message us and they're like, mad props, man. I don't know how you guys handle that. But, our moderators are one of the reasons why this is doable for us. So please make sure to, I always ask you guys, go follow them. You can click on their name here and go subscribe. Almost all of them have YouTube channels. like 95% of our moderators have YouTube channels.
Someone said that her husband calls you his second wife because you're around the TV so much.
Oh, I'm in their house so much. That's funny. I love hearing the names that people's family call us. I think it's so funny. Like, I get a lot, garden girl, your garden friend, like
They're
a lot
very
of
good
people.
at lemon trees. Fine.
Yeah.
I guess someone asked if we have citrus. I guess that is citrus.
That is citrus.
We actually
right.
also still have 2 orange trees that
I
are
don't
actually.
think I'm going to put those in the ground, though. Trifoliate and orange. They're so thorny.
Yeah. We should put them like we think people might try and get over our fence so they jump into it and get stuck.
Yeah.
Trap them. Everyone's commenting about how tired I am. It's fine. I'm actually not that tired. I'm just yawning.
Yeah, you just drink tea. It's one of those times that we're gonna like just push through and then rest really hard afterwards. Well, he's gonna rest really hard afterwards. I'm gonna do a lot of canning, but it'll be restful because it'll be in a new kitchen.
You are going out of town at some point here, not too long.
Oh, that is true.
And I will be doing nothing while you're gone.
That roots girl. That's funny. How do you get mods? Urban homesteaders, it's really just about making relationships with people who are willing to be there and show up for your lives and keep an eye on the comments. You can moderate somebody back when they're commenting. You click on the little 3 dots next to their comment and say add moderator, and that gives them moderator authority on your channel, on your lives. And at that point, they are able to
we are not vegetarians.
No, we're not vegetarians. We do really, we source our meat ethically. So, and obviously we're trying to move towards raising it all ourselves.
You know, Jessica made a cross stitch once for Katie,
my sister-in-law.
And it says she has a saying, and so we cross stitched it for
her.
Okay,
so the story is this. Katie, my sister-in-law, was asleep. And she talks in her sleep, and my brother came home and went back to check on her, and she was waking up, and she said, "Work hard, get comfy." She was like taking a nap, I guess, and that's what she said: "Work hard, get comfy." And so I made this cross stitch that said "Work hard, get comfy." So that's what we always say.
We live by it.
Hey, let me tell you. Nothing makes rest feel good like working your tail off the rest of the week. Like whenever you finally rest, you have to rest. But when
we're doing the beach body workouts we're doing are 30 minutes. And then Jessica, we were just looking through the other programs. And then, I've heard about this for years. I was never interested in trying it. But I found out that I guess P90X came from Beachbody.
Yeah.
Which is a 90-minute workout. And I'm like, I'm not doing a 90-minute workout. That's for people, no offense to anyone if this is you, but that's for people who work in an office all day and then go home. They need to work out for 90 minutes. Like I work out for 30 minutes and then work out all day on my farm and remodeling my house. So 30 minutes a day is the perfect time. I'm not doing P90X ever.
Yeah.
Newt eats garden treats and a high quality rabbit pellet, basically.
He's been getting lots of sweet potato vines lately. I've had to like tell I don't want them to do too much. I don't know like what the ratio is too much on a rabbit, but like they give him some.
We don't know what shirts we're bringing back yet. We've got probably a couple new ones coming, and then at some point we might cycle in some old ones. But we're not saying when. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know exactly how well it's going to work out. Cross-stitching, what other hobbies do you enjoy? Cross-stitching is more like a means to an end to me. I really enjoy cross-stitching, but like I just do it to make gifts for people typically. It is fun, but I do cross-stitching some. I really liked learning to spin wool. I haven't had time for that. I probably won't get back into that until the fall, until the garden's kind of like waning. Let's see what else. I like doing lots of crafty things, but I don't like monotony so much. I think that's why I like the garden so much because it's always changing. I like to paint. I like photography. I'm pretty artistic. Like I'll think that I want to like crochet or knit, but really I just want to like make something and then I want to do something else. So.
The only shirt right now is the Rise and Shine shirt. And the reason why, in case anyone didn't miss it, is we went away from the big companies and we're actually partnered with a local company out of a town in Arkansas called Fayetteville at Be Unlimited. And so we're just things are going to be different. Right now, we're doing a limited re-release of the Rise and Shine that ends on June 29th at 11:59. Once that closes, we'll figure out what we're going to do next. I don't know exactly when, but like I said, we've got some new ideas. We'll figure out how we're going to work that out.
Yeah, Jennifer Collison, like our whole life is a workout, really. I do really like doing like the intentional exercise. I think it's really good for us. And it's like, it's making the rest of the day easier because it's really strengthening those muscles. But like, there are certain things. Okay. So we start doing these workouts and some
like
things
my biceps and my outer core was fine.
Because
honestly,
that's what you use.
That's what I use most of the time.
For me,
I'll tell you right now, everything else was like that was not farm used was screaming.
No, so we started doing the workouts together, and Jeremiah's having like no problem with upper body. Like he has a lot of strength in his core and like the side of his core muscles. And I actually had a more hard time with that. But I'll tell you what, I can do some squats like it's nobody's business because I got those garden muscles. That is not a problem for me. And it's funny, like you really see where you're strong.
Leg day is not my favorite day.
I love leg day. I'm like, I can handle leg day because that's where my body is the strongest because of working in the garden. It's so much up and down. And it was funny, like the first time we did like a leg day workout on Beachbody, I went out and pruned all my tomato plants afterwards, 250 tomato plants. That's 3 60-foot rows in the greenhouse and 3 48-foot rows in here. And all of them, I mean, I'm like squatted down to do that or bent over. So yeah, I was like, this is double leg day. Tomato pruning day is leg day for me.
My biggest issue with leg day is I have a limited range of motion and strength in my left leg, and so it's hard to do a lot of the exercises. Like I'm doing squats, and whenever my left leg is the leg supporting my body weight, I'm like, it's rough.
Yeah, because he's missing so much of that muscle mass from all the tumors that he had. But
I do enjoy it. I feel better every day that I actually work out. If I skip a day, I actually don't feel as good. What?
Single dad, I was saying my spoon to mouth muscles are strong. That's funny. Oh, I know. My mug lifting muscles are strong. I work that out all the time. Yeah, Jennifer Collison, no joke. Building raised beds with power tool failures is definitely hard work. That's what Jeremiah said the other day. He was sanding sheetrock, and he was like, that's a workout, sanding sheetrock. That'll get your heart rate up.
Oh, yeah, it was.
North Star Prep Center shared up there my friend Megan, who does Beachbody. If you guys are.
How did I find the tumors? I was active duty Marine Corps. I was in Okinawa, Japan. I was actually about to take my test for Greenbelt MCMAP, which is Marine Corps Martial Arts, and we were doing something called shoulder throws, which essentially is what it sounds like. You team up as you're practicing and you run at your partner, and essentially there's a move where they grab your arm and use your momentum and twist, and essentially you basically put them on your shoulder and throw them as far as you can, and then they teach you how to land so it doesn't hurt. So we were doing shoulder throws. And so I got thrown, and when I landed, my left leg got stuck, like if you were going to do a quad stretch. So like you're going to bend it backwards. And when it bent backwards, it shot off to the side and got real sore. So I went to my corpsman, and there was like this big mass behind my knee. And he thought it was like sometimes when you sprain something, it'll swell up real big. And he thought it was that. And so I went to a bigger hospital doctor, and they did an MRI, and that MRI took 7 hours because once they started scanning, they basically had to keep scanning until they found the end of the mass. And it was like all the way up into like my inner thigh and down into behind my kneecap. And so once I figured out it was a tumor, I got shipped back to the States and had a surgery. And then I came back a year later, had another surgery. And that's kind of what did me in, is after the second surgery, they did radiation because they didn't know what else to do. And that kind of just stunted all my regrowth. And so I never really recovered from that. And then a few years later, I ended up getting it followed up with at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota. And the doctor there actually did some experimental stuff. And I took a estrogen blocker, which is what he felt like might be feeding it. And that shrank the tumor, gone.
Because basically it was like an overflow of.
I had too much estrogen in my system. And so it was feeding the tumor. Now, what's interesting is how I'm fairly confident how the tumor started is that when I was 5, I was coming down my driveway. I was supposed to be grounded, but I wasn't listening. And I was on my bike. I wasn't supposed to be. But I was coming down the driveway, and I look left as I'm coming down, and then I look right to make sure there's no cars coming. And this elderly woman came around the corner at like 50 miles an hour in her 80s Cadillac, so big metal Cadillac, and hit me head on. So my bike's coming down, so I'm coming down like this, and I basically hit her head on at like 40 something miles an hour and flew into her windshield at like 6. I think it was 5 or 6, and flew over her car. My bike went under her car, and I landed on the other side. And the only injury I walked away from that whole ordeal was a massive bruise on my thigh where the tumor grew. And so the theory is, they can't prove this, is that trauma is what started the tumor growth.
Yeah. That's crazy, right? When I think of that, I just imagine like Benjamin's age being hit by a car like that. That's just absolutely mind blowing.
Yeah.
Really glad that you lived through that.
I'm glad.
Yeah, so the trauma caused mutation. That's basically what they speculated, was that the trauma could have caused mutation. So, and then of course, a lot of people, I mean, you could go down a wormhole in this, but like stuff like that, like there's a lot of estrogen that can come out. So, yeah. Well, you ready to log the sauce so you can eat your dinner?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today and for blessing us with your time. We hope you have a really wonderful week, and we will talk to you guys later. We bless you. Until next time.
Bye, guys.